May you raise your hands, please? Okay. Great.
But we're not going to be here for much long because of the climate crisis. We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying, we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. So I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies. We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2. All of you're a pollutant. Too much CO2. We have to start now, please. You are so great. I'm so happy that you're really supporting the Green Deal, but it's not enough. Even if we would bomb Russia, we still have too many people, too much pollution. So we have to get rid of the babies. That's a big problem. Just stopping having babies is not enough. We need to eat the babies, and this is very serious. Please give a response.
Thank you. No, thank you. We'll go ahead.
Okay.
No, we'll go ahead. It's so no. Yeah, no. Thank you. So I think So one of the things that's very important to us is that we need to treat the climate crisis with the urgency that it does present. Luckily, we have more than a few months. We do need to hit net zero in several years. But I think we all need to understand that there are a lot of solutions that we have and that we can pursue, and that if we act in a positive way, there's space for hope. We are never beyond hope. Okay. Thank you. Let's start right there.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike, we have to eat the babies, Cohen. I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom.
Hey, everybody. We have a climate crisis. We have only a few months.
It's much worse than what the Swedish doctor says.
It's much worse than the Swedish doctor who said that we have to eat the dead people. Frankly, if you let your baby continue to live, you selfish bastard, you're going to kill us all. Welcome to the muddy waters of freedom.
And to thank the people who are allowing me to use these single-use plastics that I will throw into the regular trash and not recycle later.
And allow me to thank Kroger.
Casey Martin. Thank you, Casey Martin.
Thank you, Casey.
The single-use plastic that's going to go
Casey.
Directly into the trash.
And allow me to thank Kroger for this perfectly shaped bottle for me to make into a small cylinder and shove up the nostril of the nearest sea turtle. Buluvanaka.
Buluvanaka.
So Matt, how was your week?
My week was good. My week was good. I successfully did very little.
That's a good week.
That is. I successfully did very little. I did watch all of season 3 of the fantastic show Big Mouth. Most of that I did today.
Is that good? Because that keeps coming up as like, oh, you like Dave Chappelle, you'll like Big Mouth. And I'm like, sure, that seems like
that show is insane.
It's good? Okay. All right. Because
it is insane. It is graphic and disgusting and hilarious.
Well, I know all of my Christian conservative friends are like, don't watch this with your children. And I'm like, listen, if you're watching TVMA Netflix with your children, then you probably don't need the Parents Television Council. You actually probably do need the Parents Television Council telling you what you can and can't watch with your children, because you're clearly making poor choices on your own.
Yeah, no, that show is. One of the episodes today, it was about how you can do anything in Florida, and they're like, yeah, we don't worry about doing the blue plate special. Get me a plate of bath salts so I can eat my neighbor's face. And
speaking of which, guys,
speaking of eating people,
so we have speaking of eating people, for the good of mankind. We have some. If you didn't get the intro there, we have some news for you from the last Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez town hall.
We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying, we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. So I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies. We don't have enough time. It's too much CO2. All of you, you're a pollutant. Too much CO2. We have to start now, please. You are so great. I'm so happy that you're really supporting the Green Deal, but it's not enough. Even if we would bomb Russia, we still have too many people, too much pollution. So we have to get rid of the babies. That's
These
the
people are
big
playing the straight man
problem.
amazingly.
Having babies is not enough. We need to eat the babies, and this is very serious. Please
nobody
give
plays
a
the straight
response.
man better
No,
than
thank you,
Alexandria
thank you.
Ocasio-Cortez.
We'll go ahead.
Okay.
I like that.
No, we'll go ahead. No.
That is a woman who has never experienced not being the craziest sounding person in the room.
Right, and you could almost see the excitement in her voice about the fact that she was not the craziest person in that room.
She would. So this is one of two things, right? And we're going to get into what it actually was. But if you're sitting there and someone gets up and starts talking about eating babies, and even if you bomb Russia, that won't be enough. That's one of two things: either a really, 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 really crazy person, or a hoax. Mm-hmm. And either way, for you to sit there completely stone-faced and go, oh, okay, yes, oh, okay. That's someone who's basking in the glory of the possibility that this is a person who is crazier than yourself. Right. And I think she had a moment there where she's like, is this what people think when I talk? Like, is this what I experience? Because I've gotten this look that I feel right now. But she handled it like a champ. I would have laughed and said, yes, I'm adding this to my platform. Eat the Babies 2020.
So did she handle that like she didn't actually say, no, we're not going to eat the babies?
No, I mean, she said that we have hope. So if you listen to the longer version afterwards, she says, well, we have more than months. We have 200 months or whatever, 240 months. And there's always hope, which.
But at no point did she say we shouldn't eat babies.
Which really is not there's triangulation, there's political, strategy, but I can't think that you offend many people by taking a firm stand against eating babies. So there is something there. You're right. She didn't say let's not.
She never said that is not something that we should not have to consider this. This is not something we are ever going to consider. She never put it out there. And I'm not saying that AOC is for eating babies.
But she didn't say she's not.
But she didn't say she's not. Because we here at Muddy Waters Media do not condone the eating of babies.
We here at Muddy Waters Media, if there are two things that we hate more than anything, it's rape and baby eating.
Mm-hmm.
And
any sort of mixing of those two.
Yeah, any combination of eating people or raping them.
Especially babies.
Especially babies. But really anyone. I'm going to take it a step further, Matt, because I'm the radical here. I'm the political radical between us. I'm against eating or raping anyone of any age.
That's,
I
am. Unless it's in a live sort of situation, The movie about the soccer team that got down.
Oh, like survival. Well,
right.
I mean, you wouldn't have to rape them to survive, though.
Well, no, but that's the eating of people.
So 2 things I'd be okay with: eating someone to survive, and then also like cutting them open and doing the although frankly, size-wise, it's better to find a larger mammal. But cutting them open.
The Han Solo Tauntaun thing.
Well, it was Luke Skywalker, but yeah, the Tauntaun.
Han Solo cut him open and put Luke in it.
Oh, that's right. So yes, those 2 things Muddy Waters Media supports in very limited to save the life of the mother, and in a I guess and maybe in the case of rape and incest, if someone rapes you, then I guess you can eat them. So it turns out that this was a hoax, Matt. Let's talk to them about something so I can stop.
So, not surprisingly, that was a hoax. That was a hoax. And a group came out and they immediately said that they were claiming being the people who did that. And that was the Trump supporting LaRouche PAC, which, for anybody who doesn't know, the LaRouche PAC, that was started in honor of the great far-right leader Lyndon LaRouche.
Lyndon LaRouche.
Lyndon LaRouche, which I don't know how many of our viewers were around for Lyndon LaRouche, but he at no point was anything that would be considered right.
There are many terms to refer to Lyndon LaRouche, and far right is not one of them.
Cult leader. He was convicted cult leader. He did cheat on his taxes, so good on him. Good on you there, buddy.
Even a broke clock is right twice a day, and he cheated on his taxes, so fair enough. But he was a socialist. He was a Workers' Party member.
Yeah, he ran for president under the platform of a strong military, and socialist economics. He really wanted to build a communist regime here in America. I remember my freshman year of college at George Mason University in Fairfax. He had a campaign team that was much like Young Americans for Liberty, except the socialist, crazy
communist version. Yeah.
And they were out in campuses and they were coming along and they would hand me literature from crazy Lyndon LaRouche, and every day we narrowly averted World War III, and how we needed to make sure that all of the money that was made in America was put into a big pool and distributed evenly amongst everybody, except for the military, because the military would rule all. And I always was like, I just want to go to class. Go away.
I'm just trying to make it to class, guys. So now that he died in, I think, February of this year, LaRouche...
I think it was longer ago, wasn't
it? Unless it was another... Hold on. Anyway, now that he's gone, whenever he died, in particular, he died... No, he died this year at the age of 96, February 12th of 2019. So now that he is dead, they have had to look for a new hero, which is apparently Donald Trump.
Apparently it's Donald Trump, which makes no sense.
I mean, he's not a communist, but he definitely wants a strong military. And he dabbles in socialist economics. I'm not sure I'd call it socialist economics, but he's certainly dabbling on the fringe there. I guess they're being pragmatic. Matt, they're being pragmatic LaRouche cultists and saying, let's go with Trump. So they have taken responsibility for this hoax.
They couldn't go with the Clintons because the Clintons would never approve of eating of babies.
That is definitely true.
They have to wait until they're at least 12 before the Clintons destroy them. Wow.
And so, speaking of so so Matt, something else crazy happened on a Delta flight.
Yes.
And it's so a woman boarded a Delta flight without an ID or a ticket, was somehow able to get past TSA. You're probably wondering why we're even talking about this. And the entire vehicle for this was that I had basically said to Matt, I'm pretty sure that this woman must be pretty hot to make it past TSA. And, just must have been knocked down, gorgeous. And Matt said no. Turned out no. She was in fact not. Sylvia Richter is her name. She was taken into custody. She tried to use her phone to prove who she was and said she threw her boarding pass away. The passengers were deplaned and searched. And again, really not of any real consequence to our lives. I'm just...
I want to know how she did it. Like, so I know how you can... I know you can get on an airplane without an ID. It's 100% possible. I have seen it happen.
But you got to have your boarding pass.
But you have to have a boarding pass. That's the part that I'm like, because when I first read it, I was like, well, yeah, no, I know many people who do that. Without ticket, without ID. Yeah, I've seen that happen. That has blown my mind every single time. But without ticket, I don't know how you do that.
Like they scan it. And so
the only thing I can think of is that she was flying from somewhere to somewhere else and she was already on. And but I don't know how she got on the plane. I think she was already at the airport.
Right. So that explains, maybe she was, like you said, she was already flying, but how'd she get on the plane?
That's the part I don't get.
And it ain't because she's, unassuming. So really the only reason we're even talking about this, folks, is that I strive to be accurate in my news coverage, and I fell hard on this one, and I'm here to atone for it. I was wrong on this.
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah, he's put it in the notes and goes, Spike bet she's hot. So I went on my investigative journalism binge last night to figure out who this woman was, and I found her name, which led to a picture. And I just wrote in the comments, Spike would be wrong.
And I'm wrong. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Everyone is wrong. And speaking of wrong, Bernie Sanders has had a heart attack. This is actually a photo of him having a heart attack. Bernie Sanders, pictured here, mid-heart attack. He had checked into a hospital a couple days ago for a heart procedure. Everyone was already saying, okay, it sounds like he had a heart attack. And then breaking news, everyone, turns out he had a heart attack.
Yeah. Which only goes to prove, we've always heard it. Bernie, he's a little crazy, but he's got a good heart. It's a heart that tried to kill a socialist.
So speaking of things that have been around a long time, and we just wish, some wish that it died, but I certainly wouldn't say something like that. Although with this, I would. The U.S. war in Afghanistan, back on Monday, yesterday, it turned 18 years old. There are now people serving in Afghanistan, or there will be people serving in Afghanistan. Actually, I think there already are, right? Who were not alive when it started. This is easily the longest running war in U.S. history.
This is easily the longest running war. I don't think that anybody is there yet. I don't think so. I think if so, this is going to be coming up in the next couple of months where they'll be going.
Later this year or beginning, but definitely by next year, there will be people enlisted and serving in Afghanistan, assuming the war doesn't end before then, which I can pretty well tell you is not going to happen. Right. That will be serving, that will have been born after. We already have people that are serving that were born after 9/11, which was supposedly the whole reason this started. And now they will have been serving, they will have been born after the actual war started, which is really horrifying. We also now know that veteran suicides are approaching all-time or modern-day highs ever since the VA has been tracking them. So I'm sure maybe there's a correlation.
I think it's 26 people a day.
Yeah, 26 people a day are killing themselves on single-payer healthcare. Actually, on government-run healthcare.
But yeah, the U.S. war in Afghanistan is now 18, which means the Clintons definitely are not interested in it.
And I'm keeping that. That I'm keeping. Or I'm finding something even better because I like it. So, speaking of the Clintons not being interested, the key witness in the Amber Geiger trial was killed in the past
I should
week.
not be laughing, but that was the weirdest segue.
I just didn't have anything. I was going to say, speaking of a rim shot, but that's even worse.
Yeah, that's bad.
So the key witness in the Amber Geiger trial, Joshua Brown, you probably remember him. Joshua Brown was gunned down in a parking lot 4 miles from the apartment complex where he lived and where Amber Geiger and Botham Jean lived, where she killed him and was recently convicted of murder. His tearful testimony and attention to detail in his testimony was a major reason for Geiger being convicted. This is the apparently second time this year, Matt, that he's been in a shooting.
Yeah, he it was within the last 12 months. I'm not sure if it was at the end of 18 or sometime in 19. He was involved in a shooting at a club. It was a birthday party. It turned violent, and some guys shot at he and his friends, catching him in the foot. It was speculated that he was the target of the shootings. Joshua Brown's dad, Mr. Brown, said he wasn't sure if this was retaliation for testifying against Amber Geiger or if him testifying publicly in this trial alerted people to his whereabouts from the incident from last year.
Right.
No matter what, he just wanted his son's killers brought to justice. The mayor of Dallas took no time in saying that people needed to avoid speculation when the key witness in a trial that sends a police officer to prison for 10 years is found dead a few days later.
Yeah.
Don't avoid speculation on what this could possibly be.
Yeah.
And the police say they are really going to look into the murder of Joshua Brown.
Yeah, in fact, breaking news that I didn't have a chance to share with Matt. They have arrested.
I saw the article today before the show.
Yeah, so they've arrested 3 people, 2 brothers and someone else that, well, I guess they're all brothers. 2 of them are related though, and the police are claiming that they are the ones that shot Joshua Brown and that he also shot one of them. That it was a drug deal gone wrong, which is entirely possible.
It is entirely possible, but from what I read, they were 3 brothers from Louisiana.
Yes.
And they came to Dallas, Texas to get
weed.
To buy weed.
As one would.
Because now, as all of our viewers and listeners know, you and I are recovering addicts.
Correct.
I have not purchased weed in a very long time.
Yeah.
If I wanted to buy a large quantity of weed right now,
yeah,
I could make 4 different phone calls and get pretty much whatever quantity I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wouldn't have to go to Dallas, Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a schlep. This wasn't like to buy several kilos of Coke. This was to buy, I think, like a pound of, or they found, so they said they found a pound of weed and some THC vape cartridges and $4,000 at Joshua Brown's apartment. It just seems, Yeah. So if I wanted to buy some weed, which I never would because there are no statute of limitations in South Carolina, so I'd never do that, nor have I in South Carolina. If I were to do that, theoretically, I've heard that someone could drive like 15 minutes away or less and like find it without knowing anyone. And I would imagine, I don't know much about, where in Louisiana? Were they in New Orleans or?
I just saw Louisiana, and I know how far of a drive that is because I've done that drive.
Alexandria, Louisiana to Dallas, Texas it's so far of a drive that it's pulling up flights. It is a 4.5-hour drive at night. So about a 5-hour drive.
About a 5-hour drive to go pick up some weed.
10 hours of driving.
To get a pound of weed and some CBD cartridges.
Assuming they're getting all of it.
Or THC cartridges.
Yeah, assuming they're getting all of it. I mean, they might have just been going to get an eighth. I mean, like we really don't know. One would hope that if you're driving a total of 10 hours and going across state lines, which now makes it a federal crime, that you would be
picking up
buying all of the weed. One would hope.
It's Yom Kippur.
It is Yom Kippur.
Oh.
Yeah. Gemara Fatima Tava.
Are we having a Seder?
No, it's Happy Jew Year. We're not having a Seder, but
why are we not having a Seder?
Because it's not Pesach. But we will certainly do.
When are we having a Seder, Spike? I'm really looking forward to
So we are going to have a very muddied Seder sometime in, what is it, April? It's different every year, but it's either March or April. We will absolutely do that to the horror of my wife and extended family. But just the absolute horror.
I will wear my yarmulke and everything.
Or a yarmulke. and either. And I will wear my giant oversized tzitzit that I was given. Not tzitzit, my talit. It's a large rabbinical temple talit that goes down. It's like a bridal gown length. Like it's really, I don't know why it's so big. It's like it was made for people that are like the giants. Like 10 feet tall. It's really big. Anyway, so yeah. Happy Yom Kippur to everyone. Happy Jew Year. And Happy Jew Year to you and yours. So yeah, it is entirely possible that happened. I want to ask you a question real quick, guys. Pretend we're not talking about the government. Pretend we're just talking about a relative. And let's say a good bit of the time your relative told you something close to the truth, and then quite often they would just tell you massive, massive lies that involved people's deaths. And they also robbed you. And they also, when they would get caught lying, they would try to harm the person who revealed that they were lying, and then try to make it illegal, tell people that they were lying. Tried to harm them, kidnap them, and even murder them. Steal from them and steal from you. How much would you trust this person? I'll leave that up to you to decide, but is it possible that this was a 10-hour weekend trip gone for weed?
For weed?
For weed?
Weed.
For weed.
For weed.
Hey guys, let's jump in the old van and drive 5 hours for some weed.
And
then let's kill him. Actually, when we get there, let's kill him.
Not only that, but these guys were in Louisiana. I've been to New Orleans. I've been to New Orleans recently.
Yeah.
I've been to New Orleans since I've been sober, and it is not the same as going to New Orleans when you are not sober.
Right.
You remember everything, and that's not a good thing. But what I do remember most about New Orleans is that it's not hard to find any drug.
And from Alexandria, you can get there in 3 hours. So that just took a total of 4 hours off your trip, and you don't have to cross state lines, making it a federal crime. So I have to say, they may not only be guilty of murder, they may be guilty of poor decision-making. Huh? So is this possible? Sure. Is it likely?
No.
This sounds like a really, really bad cartoonish cover-up in a, not even a Marvel flick, but a DC flick, where the whole time you're thinking, oh, come on, no one would ever actually believe that. But here we are.
Hang on a second. I got to look something up really quick. Alexandria, Louisiana. God, that woman's picture was on my...
The hottie? The one I was sure was hot. I mean, guys,
no,
let's be...
The one that the Iranian woman that we had in the notes, but isn't really a story. Oh, my God. Okay, so from Alexandria, you're close to Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Beaumont.
Yeah.
In Shreveport. Like, you're pretty centrally located there.
You're in the middle of Louisiana.
You're in the middle. You are like almost dead on in the middle of every big thing in Louisiana. And these are college towns. Like, you can get so many drugs in college towns.
There's not a shot in hell
that they went to Dallas, Texas
to buy weed. Now, Brian Wolf makes a point. Brian Wolf says, I mean, driving 10 hours round trip to steal $4,000 in cash and a pound of weed is plausible. I guess so, but it's just an awful schlep. Those are the types of trips you take to do big dollar deals because you're risking a lot.
You're risking a lot.
You're risking a lot. So is this possible? Sure. I don't believe it. Me personally, I'm not speaking of it. Yeah, I don't like the story. I think it's one of two things. Either the police are covering something up, or the people who actually killed him are covering something up, or the guy who's in the hospital. Because what happened was supposedly they got into a tussle with Brown. Brown shot one of them, and then one of them shot him. And the one that got shot, they left at a hospital, and he's singing like a canary. So maybe he's making something up. I don't know. But this story sounds like garbage, and I don't believe it. Let's go through some of the comments here. Jacob LaBelle, this was a while back, said, is that the white lady that wants to be black?
Oh, no. I know who he's talking about, sadly.
Who's he talking about?
It's this woman who says that she is transracial, and she's been dyeing her skin black, and she and her husband have been doing the appearances on the old talk shows.
Yeah, no, and her husband or boyfriend is now turning black too, right? He's doing the thing too.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, she little more top heavy, little less every other heavy, from what I recall.
No, I think the other. I think the white woman who's trying to be black is more everything heavy.
Oh, yeah? I know the husband, boyfriend, whatever he is. I'm not seeing. Yeah, no, I don't. That's.
Yeah, because initially the white woman who is dyeing her skin black because she's Jamaican or she's trans, whatever, she got surgery, I believe, to have the biggest breasts on earth. So she's definitely more top heavy.
Right. I'm pulling up a picture of her. Yeah, I guess she is kind of all over. Sure. Okay. All right, good. So, okay. So
welcome back to Brian Wolf. I have not seen him on an episode.
Brian Wolf. Brian Wolf said $400 an hour. 10 hour trip for $4,000 in cash. Yeah, but you got to think of wear and tear on the car. You got to think possibility of getting murdered.
You got to think the hospital bill alone.
They're screwed now. And the insurance isn't going to cover that.
No.
Absolutely not. That claim is getting denied. So, again, not the best thought out heist. This is not the Great Muppet Caper. But actually it might be. Because it's about as well planned. Let's see. I guess regarding the Bass says, I guess regarding the thing with the 18 that that Clintons aren't interested after they're 18. He said that's one thing that the Clintons have in common with libertarians. And then let's see. Hampion says I've ridden to Asheville before. I have as well. And that's about from here. That's about 5 hours, 6 hours, I think, if I recall. And I definitely wouldn't drive that far to buy weed or even to steal it. Not that I'd ever steal because that's illegal. Do that.
It's illegal to steal weed. I'm pretty certain in South Carolina it's illegal to do weed, to smoke weed, to have weed.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't do that either, ever. I would never.
Right.
I don't do crimes. Bass says time to get out the tinfoil hats. Bass, you have to admit.
This makes no sense.
I mean, come on.
Like yes, we understand
Tower 7, but it's. I mean, come on.
This is there a possibility that this actually happened? Yes.
Yeah.
There is a possibility. But this story is just way too convenient and way too implausible. To be something that really happened so close to this other event.
Yeah.
If this was 2 months from now, I probably wouldn't question it that much. I'd be like, all right, well, idiot criminals are idiot criminals, I guess.
I think I'd probably still be more likely to say that the guy that they're talking to is making it up, assuming that's where the story came from.
Right.
Because this just doesn't sound right. Like someone's being covered for, and it may just be like he's covering for someone that would kill him if he knew, that if he found out that he ratted on him and he's local or something like that. I don't know, but this story sounds like garbage. Is it possible? Sure. Is it likely? I don't think so. I think the story is crappy, and it also feeds right into my natural distrust of government. So it really just it just dovetails very well,
right?
Frankly, so yeah, and Brian said I would still do some pretty stupid shit for $400 an hour. I guess so, but this is stupid. This is stupid on levels.
This is right. This is multiple levels stupid. I've done stupid things for $400.
Well,
and at no point did anybody ever end up dead.
Which is that's a crucial part.
That is a crucial part of
I'm proud of you, frankly, that, everyone lived. Now, I'll tell you what isn't stupid, guys. And that is the Chris Reynolds, personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, Anchor call-in moment. Brought to you by Anchor FM. With no minimum listenership.
No minimum listenership. For anybody who doesn't know about the wonders of Anchor FM, we're not going to go all into it anymore.
No.
But you can give us money there. And if you give us money there, we'll talk about you on our show.
Yeah, favorably.
I
mean, we'll talk about you on our show. But if you give us money, you can control how we talk about you. Speaking of personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, one of our favorite and greatest sponsors, he is also has this time where he calls in and leaves us questions. And so we have 3. Well, that's not true. We have 2, and then we have one from an anonymous caller. First time. And so we'll go with the first one from personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with Trump Time. Over the past week or so, we've had not only the launch of an impeachment investigation inquiry, but instead of just denying the whole thing as we would have supposed, it seems as if Donald Trump is now not only openly admitting that he asked a foreign country to take down a political rival, but he's now saying he wants China to get in on the act, and also maybe Elizabeth Warren's kids did something bad in Ukraine, which, by the way, I don't know what's going on in the Ukraine, but apparently that's the place to be, for corruption anyways.
Right.
But I would love your guys' thoughts just kind of on that strategy of, I guess, doubling down is the right word, rather than avoiding. Thanks.
I'll let you go first.
So it is kind of odd because Biden's kid worked with the Ukraine energy company. Elizabeth Warren's kids worked with the Ukraine energy company, and Mitt Romney, one of Mitt Romney's kids, worked with the same company. So
the Ukraine is lit.
Yeah, their energy companies out there, mad lit, which is weird because when you think of Ukraine, you don't think lit. In any
But if you think
way.
of energy, you do think lit. Huh?
That's true.
Huh?
That's true. But you don't think of Ukraine having energy.
That's also true.
Because Russia takes it all.
That's true. Yeah. Where is the Ukraine getting energy all of a sudden? Because I thought like their whole thing is they import it all from Russia.
Right.
So this sounds like what was that company called? The Enron. This is like an Enron again. Like, oh, we found Ukrainian energy, and we just need to bring in all these politicians' kids. Surely there's nothing untoward going on here.
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. So you have all of these politicians who are all calling for impeachment, and all of their kids work for the Ukrainian energy company
sector. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but as far as Donald Trump doubling down and saying, like, denying he did anything wrong, but instead flipping it around and going, maybe China should look into it. And that's Donald Trumpian.
That's pure.
That's Donald Trumpian at its Donald Trumpianist. It's him going, he's like, I didn't do anything wrong. And to prove it, China, you should do it too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a common thing whenever we talk about Trump and impeachment. And it's that.
One, it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. The impeachment itself is almost assured to happen. And the conviction is assured to not happen. So that's already a foregone conclusion. We're all just going through the motions of both sides trying to make it work as well for them politically as they can, because we already know what's going to happen. There's an interesting thing with cults of personality, and we saw this with Obama. We saw it with any major politician. We'll see this, where you have people saying he didn't do it. If he did do it, there's nothing wrong with it. And if there is something wrong with it, the people I don't like do things that are worse. And so we've seen that with this. There was like a poll that showed that 40% of Republicans that were polled said they didn't believe that Trump had asked the Ukraine to look into, to find out anything about Biden's son after Trump had said he did do it. Now, once they heard that, they then, I'm sure, switched to, he didn't do anything wrong. And so that's how cults of personality go. That's not really unique to Trump. What's unique to Trump is just how big his cult of personality is. But it's not, he's not breaking new ground here with being able to do stuff in front of people. The question of whether what he did was illegal or not, I've seen a lot of different interpretations. Everything from, he absolutely violated the law, all the way to, possible libertarian presidential candidate or former libertarian vice presidential candidate and current Republican primary nominee that's going to go nowhere, Bill Weld, said that he's guilty of treason and that the punishment for treason is death. So that's one extreme. The other extreme is that he did absolutely nothing wrong because he's president and he can say whatever he wants to anyone. The truth is somewhere in between there, and the real truth is that none of that matters because he's going to get convicted because the Democrats, or he's going to get impeached because the Democrats run the House, and he's going to not get convicted because the Republicans run the Senate. So,
very true. Also, for anybody out there, if you're not watching us on Float, FLOTE.app, which is now in the comments, you're missing out because it looks good. And also, what I just realized is you can send us money on Float.
Yes, you can send us crypto and money on Float.
Because somebody sent us, Kingsley sent us 98 cents.
Nice. Thank you, Kingsley, for the 98 cents.
Thank you, Kingsley.
Yeah, thanks, Kingsley. It looks so good. So it's float.app/muddiedwatersmedia/live. Link in the notes. And so be sure to check us out there.
And we will also be live streaming the debate there next week.
Yes. Demageddon 3, I still haven't come up with a subtitle. Probably First Blood.
part 2.
Oh, we're definitely doing that. So that's that one, and then we have a second one from personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with the Conservative Corner. Over the last few years, the Republican Party has become, at least in my estimation, less and less conservative. The older party of small government, states' rights, slow taxes, the least amount of governmental interference in our lives that we have, at least from a major party, to a party that is spending tons of money and taking away power from states and honestly just not conservative anymore. And so I would love to hear if you guys agree with that, number one. And number two, can the Republican Party ever get back to where it was before vis-a-vis a conservative party? Thanks.
So we have to keep in mind, think of the Republican Party of 2000, from when George Bush was elected and came into office in 2001, George W. Bush, until and then when the Republicans took over both houses of the House and the Senate in 2002, and then until they were removed in 2006 from both houses, where the Democrats took over, and then obviously when Bush was not reelected, was no longer eligible for election, and Obama replaced him. So during that period of time, about an 8-year period of time, Republicans had all or most of the control of the government, and
I thought they lost control of the Senate in 2004.
No, in 2006. So they lost seats in the House, but they actually gained in the Senate. But they had the House and the Senate in 2004, and obviously Bush beat Kerry that year. And then in 2006, the Democrats swept the board in both houses, and Nancy Pelosi became Speaker. So, but anyway, during that time, let's say from 2003 until 2007, when the Republicans came in. So during that period of time, the Republicans had total control of both the White House and the both houses of Congress. They grew the government exponentially. They grew the military exponentially. They grew the surveillance state exponentially. They grew the prison state exponentially. They grew the healthcare state exponentially. There wasn't a single part or sector of the economy that government didn't intrude on more, or cost more, or steal more, or infringe upon more. And it was all Republicans who ran on being conservatives, limited government conservatives. And we saw that when, during the Reagan years. Now, Reagan had a Democrat Congress he was dealing with, but Reagan never saw a spending bill that he didn't love unless he needed to add more to it. And so Republicans are the party of talking about being fiscally conservative when it's politically expedient to do so, and then acting like the Democrats do when they're in office. In the same way that the Democrats are the party of talking great about things like human rights and peace, and although recently they're not the party of peace anymore, but human rights and inclusion and fairness and all these things. And then when they come into office, they essentially do the same thing that Republicans do. Matt, do you have anything to add to that? I mean, that's like...
No. Well, yes. The no was an answer to Chris's question of, will the Republicans ever get back to being conservative? No, they won't. More and more, you're going to see this move towards the middle, which in essence is just going to be more of a move towards the left, which eventually, right now, if you take a look at like any Nolan chart, you're going to be seeing that most presidential candidates are kind of in this one tiny area that kind of covers the central left and central right. And it's right in that area. That's why right now your Elizabeth Warrens aren't going to win and your Bernie Sanders aren't going to win. And you're never going to get somebody like a Ron Paul.
Right.
Everybody's going to be, okay, well, this person's palatable. This person's palatable, and we can possibly get things done with them.
Right.
But because of that, you're going to end up with, okay, well, we have to give up this spending in order to get this.
Right.
And we're going to have to give up this, this bill, so that way we can get this. And you're going to see more and more spending for less and less. And eventually the spending is going to just become so natural that people accept it. It's like the farm subsidies.
Yes.
We're getting we're tariffing, we're adding these tariffs, and the farmers aren't making as much money. And in order to make up for that, we are now subsidizing the farmers. And you have people out there saying, no, this is fine because we need to do that in order to make sure that this works. Although if we weren't doing this in the first place, we would be paying less on the products that are coming in, and we wouldn't be spending the tax money in order to subsidize the farmers.
Right.
But because of that, we're accepting it. And you see Republicans defending it, saying, no, this is fine. That's where they're losing their battle. They're losing their battle. And so, no, the Republicans are never going to go back to the we don't spend money conservatives.
No.
No.
No, they're not even going to go back to the we're not going to spend more money conservatives. So for a long time, conservatives have never actually cut government. They've talked about it a lot, but conservatives have never actually, in a long, sustained way, cut government. There was a very brief period during the Coolidge years where it happened, but it was immediately stripped by the Hoover years. There's never been a long, sustained period of time of conservatives cutting government. What they have done successfully to different degrees at times is not grow government. So progressives progress, and then conservatives conserve. They don't stop. They go, well, let's just not go any further. Let's just stay where it is. Let's preserve this for future generations. So, for example, a conservative of 100 years ago would sound like an anarchist now. They would want no public education. They would want no federal storm assistance after a major storm. They would want no federally owned roads. They would want no Federal Reserve. They would want no central banking. They would want no wage laws at all. They would want no Social Security, no Medicare, no VA. So conservatives fought against the creation of the VA. They would want no inclusion in any of these so-called wars of terrorism. They'd want none of this surveillance. They want none of that. They'd want to preserve whatever level of government growth had been done by the progressives up until that point, which of that would be 1919. But they would say, but no more. So now we've moved to a new era where you've got the super progressives who want to progress, this high, this fast, and then you've got the Republican progressives who still call themselves conservatives who they want to grow this fast, but also preserve all of the current overgrowth of government that's already happened. So when people see, conservatives in Canada and the UK talk about the common sense measures that they need to take to cut spending so that they can preserve socialized healthcare for future generations, and Americans sneer at that, that's coming here. It will probably be Republicans who introduce some form of socialized healthcare. And when Democrats come in, they'll turn it into something way bigger. And then if Republicans come in, they'll fight to preserve it and make sure that it stays around so that grandma can get to the doctor one day if her ration comes up before she dies. And that's all coming. So no, I don't think we're ever going to return to limited anything. I think it's going to just grow forever and ever and ever.
No, yeah, that's essentially, yes.
Yeah, I wish I was saying something else, but that's how it is. And then we have an anonymous caller. No idea who this is, but let's drop that question.
Hey, Muddied Waters Media, anonymous caller here, first time, long time. So I wanted to touch on probably the most important topic of the week.
Oh no.
I think we would all agree, probably the most dark, visceral, scary thing that's happened recently, and of course I'm talking about the penultimate episode of Succession. We find out about these deaths happening on these cruise ships, the sexual allegations and sexual abuse going on, This company that's basically, I think, the being parodied as Fox News, that's been funny for all season. All of a sudden, it got really dark really fast, and I'd love to know who's going to be the guy that takes the fall for all of this. Is it Kendall? Is it Roman? I don't know. Thanks.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
I think it's Kendall.
I think it's Roman.
Well, okay. I'm fine with that being our major disagreement on the show. I'm Team Kendall. I'm team Kendall takes the fall, and your team Roman.
Roman takes the fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what is he. What is our anonymous caller talking about?
I don't know.
Secession?
Hey, anonymous caller. What Succession show?
I have no idea what this is.
It's a show on HBO. It's about international media. So it's like a Rupert Murdoch and family play on that whole thing.
Okay, so I've seen this come up. I haven't watched any of it though.
I think it's what did I say? Kendall? It's Kendall.
You think it's Kendall? You think
Kendall's
it's
going
Kendall?
down?
Oh man, no, I'm definitely. Oh man, actually, now that I see who the actors are,
is it going to be Kendall?
It could be Kendall.
Kendall's going down. Is Kendall
a
guy
because
or a girl?
The other one's Macaulay Culkin's more talented brother.
Oh, they're not going to do that to him.
Right, he's gone through enough.
By the way, there was talk about the possibility of there being a Home Alone 3 with Macaulay Culkin playing Kevin.
Okay, first of all,
reprising that role.
There already is a Home Alone 3.
4. Wait, there's a third one? First one was at his house.
Right. Second one was Lost in New York. Third one was not with Kevin McAllister.
That's not canon.
It's called Home Alone 3, and it was produced by the guy who, oh God, I can't believe I forgot his name. The guy, man, he did Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink. John Hughes. It was produced by John Hughes.
I think we can all agree that that doesn't count. Not my Home Alone. # not my Home Alone.
You were so close to getting that right.
There's no way. No, it's definitely Kendall. So thank you, anonymous person.
I'm gonna stick Roman just because, I said it. So, and I've never seen it. So
we won't even know if we're right or not. That's the beauty of this.
Just looking at this cast, this is a show I am gonna watch like as soon as we get finished tonight.
Okay, well then you can tell me like your legit take next week. So thanks again, anonymous caller. But so speaking of not knowing who's gonna take the fall, I guess that's probably actually a good segue. Donald Trump, in his talking about pulling his never-ending talk about pulling troops out of Syria, he has threatened Turkey in a very interesting way. He said, as I have stated strongly before. And just to reiterate, if Turkey
do it as Trump.
Oh God, then you do it. Then you do it because I'm.
I can't do it. As I've stated strongly before, and just to reiterate, if Turkey does anything that I, in my great and unmatched wisdom, consider to be off limits, I will totally destroy and obliterate the economy of Turkey. I've done before, which I don't remember that happening. They must, with Europe and others, watch over the captured ISIS fighters and families. The U.S. has done far more than anyone could have ever expected, including the capture of 100% of the ISIS caliphate. It is time now for others in the region, some with great wealth, to protect their own territory. The USA is great.
I'm not sure what the USA... That was pure boomer posting at the end there, just throwing in the USA is great. Didn't really... Anyway... if anyone recalls when Trump totally destroyed and obliterated the economy of Turkey, if you can let us know, because I do not. I don't recall.
I have no idea what he's referencing there. So, Trump said he's going to pull troops from Syria, like 100 troops from Syria.
Right.
And then Turkey said that they were going to take over.
They were gonna. My understanding is they were going to attack an area that has U.S.-backed Kurdish fighters that Turkey considers to be a terrorist organization. So the Kurds, for those who don't know, the Kurds are a people. They're not actually Arabs. They're Sunni Muslims, but they're not Arabs. They don't have their own country. And when the former colonial powers were carving up the Middle East, they didn't bother making anything for the Kurds. So the Kurds live in the south part of Turkey, the eastern part of Syria, and the northern part of I'm doing that in reverse from what you're seeing. So the northern part of Turkey, the eastern part of Syria, and the southern part of Turkey, eastern part of Syria, and northern part of Iraq, which they consider Kurdistan. No one else does. And so, they're fighting for, right now they've been fighting ISIS because the U.S. has been sponsoring them, but they also are fighting for a Kurdistan and have attacked Turkey in the past. And so Turkey considers them a terrorist group. This was a threat that he made to totally destroy Turkey again, if they dare attack the Kurds. And to not be one-upped on saying the stupidest thing this week, Lindsey Graham with a respectable entry, blaming 9/11 on Obama's libertarian foreign policy. He says the Obama-libertarian foreign policy does not make America safe. If ignoring radical Islam made America safe, there would not have been a 9/11. Ignoring radical Islam meaning bombing and destabilizing Muslim countries for 2 generations. Ignoring them.
Right. And the Obama libertarian foreign policy, Obama's foreign policy not being libertarian.
Yeah, he dropped like 2 million bombs or something like that. Or over a million.
It was 10,000 bombs a month or something like that.
Yeah. The classic libertarian policy of dropping countless bombs and killing countless people. Many of them were non-combatants.
Some of them American citizens without trial.
Some of them American citizens without trial. Graham was angry about Trump pulling the U.S. military out of Syria. He wrote, "No matter what President Trump is saying about his decision, it is exactly what President Obama did in Iraq, with even more disastrous consequences for our national security. Unlike President Obama, I hope President Trump will reassess and take sound military advice." One of the few things that Obama did that was good was to get U.S. troops out of Iraq, which incidentally right now is embroiled in their own version of a Hong Kong protest where soldiers are killing students in the streets over corruption issues. It's a good thing that U.S. troops aren't there anymore. That's again, broken clock. Great job, Obama, on pulling out. We're being told disastrous consequences. There were no disastrous consequences of pulling out of Iraq, nor would there be pulling out of Syria. And then, not to be outdone on being the biggest bitch in this week, Nikki Haley, who is a literal bitch, also attacked Trump for
Isn't
daring.
She your literal bitch?
Oh, we'll get to that in a moment because I have a few apologies to do on this episode. I already did my one atonement, and I'm about to do another. Nikki Haley, former governor of my state, South Carolina, former UN ambassador, current bitch, wrote, "We must always have the backs of our allies if we expect them to have our back. The Kurds were instrumental in our successful fight against ISIS in Syria. Leaving them to die is a big mistake. Hashtag Nikki is our bitch." So guys, I'd like to take a moment. Lindsey Graham and Nikki Haley are from my state. And before I was an anarchist, hour 15 minutes, I voted for both of them at one point. I voted for Lindsey Graham in 2002 because he was a neocon, because I was as well. And I voted for Nikki Haley in 2008 because she talked about cutting government. And I hated Andre Bauer. And still do. So, in a way, I'm partially responsible for all of this. I did not vote for Lindsay, in 2008, I voted for a Democrat with a flat top, whose name I don't remember at the moment, Bill something or Bob something. He wanted out of Iraq, and he was more conservative than Lindsay. I'm not sure how he got the Democratic nomination. But I voted for him. Actually, I don't think I voted for anyone in that one. That was 2008, and then in 2014, I wrote in my dog, Zeus Cohen, who lost in a close decision. And we tried to contest that for a recount, but it turned out it was illegal for a dog to run for office in South Carolina. Should go figure for that. Yeah, no, I know. Bible Belt politics gets in the way
also,
of
the cost of a recount.
That's fair enough, but the whole dogs can't. But your Christian fundamentalism has to get in the way of our human rights, and so. But the fact is, I mean, more than likely he would have won without my vote, as would she. But I even voted for her in the primary, and so I just need to take a moment, because the reality is I have a little blood on my hands. and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I also voted for Bush in 2004.
So I voted for him twice.
I didn't. I was gonna vote for Nader in 2000, but I was too high and forgot what day election day was, and I kind of thought you could kind of do it the whole week. So guys, I apologize. I can't take it back, but I can't apologize. So I do. Zeus Cohen 2020. That's correct, Jacob. Anyway, so, but it gets worse, guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say
because not only are Republicans mad, Trump was rebuked by none other than God.
The president who allowed Khashoggi to be cut in pieces without any repercussions whatsoever is now allowing the Christians and the Kurds to be massacred by the Turks. And I believe, and I want to say this with great solemnity, the President of the United States is in danger of losing the mandate of heaven if he permits this to happen.
The mandate of heaven.
First of all, can we talk about what happened to Pat Robertson?
Oh, about 100 years.
Good God, that man.
The president who...
That guy has aged.
He has aged, and it has not been pretty.
I mean, let's be clear. He was old when I was a baby.
Yeah.
So he's got to be... How old is Pat Robertson? Pat Robertson, by the way, mandate of heaven to stay alive. Pat Robertson is 89.
89.
Born in 1930.
He is a spring chicken.
He's coming up on his 90th birthday.
Good God.
And looks it.
He looks every day of 89.
He is someone, if someone came up to you looking like him and said, I'm 89, I'd say, I believe you, sir.
I believe every single word of that. Good God, he looks like the Crypt Keeper had sex with Freddy Krueger.
Yep. Which would create a mandate of heaven.
Well,
I mean, if anyone would know if you're in danger of losing the mandate of heaven, it would be Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson, by the way, who said that we get hurricanes because of gay marriage. And that, what else? Ariel Sharon died because he pulled out the Israeli troops out of Gaza. That got him a little bit of harshness there. He got a little bit of a mandate of heaven himself from that one. But he's got a lofty claim, guys, that the reason that I guess Donald Trump is president is because heaven mandated it. Not sure how Obama happened. Gonna follow up on that.
That is the one question that I have for many of the Christian conservatives is
yes.
When Trump was first elected, there was an image that was circulating, and it was of Jesus guiding the hand of Trump, and it was like God put Jesus here, or God put Trump here.
Well, God did. I mean,
also Jesus.
Also Jesus.
Also back in the White House.
Right.
And I'm like, well, didn't God put Obama there? Like, aren't you kind of, if you're rooting for that, if you're saying that this is going on, He's doing both sides here. He's playing the field.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of that, because then if you say that, they go, no, that was punishment. I'm like, listen, unless you're reading from the Bible, you're spitballing here.
Right.
As to which one was punishment, which one was the blessing, and which one was maybe God just letting you do your own damn thing. Possibly.
As Bass says, gay marriage is pretty hot and would definitely heat up the Atlantic.
Especially with all those cruises, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to heat up the Atlantic, you go on a gay cruise. I wish I had done that when I said the thing in the first place. But so the entirety of all Republicans, including God, come out strongly against Donald Trump and his move to apparently to pull even remotely out of Syria. And pretty quickly afterwards, a senior administration official seemed to contradict Trump in a call with a pool of reporters, saying that Trump was only relocating 50 troops to another part of Syria. He was not pulling out entirely, even though Trump's tweets all the last week plus have been saying, we're getting out of Syria. Then Trump also seemed to contradict Trump, tweeting earlier today that Turkey was a great ally and that he will not abandon the Kurds or leave Syria. Mandate of heaven restored. So good news there.
Good news there. There isn't. They can't actually.
So
they can't actually believe that God, if you believe in such things, that God looked down with his infinite wisdom at the 350 million people living in the United States and said, that guy right there.
Him.
You know what? He's never had a drink or done a drug in his life. That's all you need. That's it. You're qualified. I don't care about anything else you have done in your lifetime, anything you have said in your lifetime. Don't care about any of that.
Just don't drink or do drugs.
Right. So being a teetotaler is all you need.
Follow this one weird trick to get the mandate of heaven.
Don't drink or do drugs. Everything else, you're good.
Unless you're Obama, because he drank and did drugs. There's so guys, I'm not gonna lie. There's a little bit of contradiction here. We're not getting a full picture. It's not always lining up. And so speaking of
mandate of heaven.
Speaking of the mandate of heaven, if heaven mandates that you go to jury duty, so a Florida man missed jury duty, and got
DeAndre
a 10-day sentence.
Shout out, buddy.
What's that?
DeAndre Somerville. Shout out.
Shout out to DeAndre Somerville.
This poor guy from West Palm. He's a 21-year-old volunteer at the Parks and Rec department who mentors children.
Oh, God, I knew he volunteered. God. Well, tell us what this scumbag dreg of society did, Matt.
This guy, so he showed up to his demanded jury duty, and he had, some would say, the benefit, some would say the torture of being selected for a jury. Now, DeAndre Somerville, 21 years old, had recently moved in with his grandparents. Some would call him the caretaker, taking his grandfather to therapy a couple times a week. Got selected for a jury. While he's not caretaking or being on juries. Like I said, works at the Parks and Rec department, mentoring children, playing games with them, whatever.
So he pretty much just serves humanity as every waking moment.
Right. That's what it seems like.
Right.
Overslept. his jury duty that he got selected for a civil case stemming from an automobile accident. Instead of calling, he looked up what would happen on the old interwebs. Looked like nothing. But the judge was like, no. Instead of showing up, instead of calling, he just went to work to mentor children. But the judge said, no, we're going to fine him in contempt of court. And locked him away for 10 days. Gave him 1 year of probation and a $233 fine. And initially 150 hours of community service. Now, the first time I was arrested for a nonviolent crime, I received 1 year of probation, a $400 fine, and 20 hours of community service.
Now, were you on your way to serve your fellow man when they popped you?
No, I was on my way to King's Dominion, which is a theme park in Virginia, to utilize what I had been arrested for and serve me. And he served his 10 days, which he did. He said that the 10 days was traumatic. And I was like, okay, man, you're playing this one up a little bit too much. Now, I will say that his grandfather wasn't able to get to his therapy during those times, and the kids missed him at the Parks and Rec department. And the judge, he also had to write a no less than 100-word apology explaining that he had learned what he had done wrong.
So it sounds like I guess he probably could have it sounds like they threw the book at him. This is pretty.
They gave him the worst thing possible. They ended up lowering it. He served the 10 days. The fine didn't get reduced. He got 3 months probation and has to do 30 hours of community service. Part of that 30 hours is once a week, he has to show up for a 10-minute lecture on why jury duty is important. Once a week, he has to do this.
This guy already does community service full time as his grandfather's caretaker and at the community center. So okay, let me put on my statist hat for a second, which is also a dunce cap. But let me put that on, and
if you have a graphic for this, I thought you were going to put on a graphic, and I was like,
wow. That next episode, that would have been awesome, but no. But let me just put that on for a second, and let's just so you put the kid in jail, and he has no criminal. I could see if you say, okay, you're gonna have to pay this fine, and you need to sit through this thing on why jury duty is important, and you need to write this letter about why it was wrong or whatever. You put the kid in jail for a week and a half. He's 21. He's and obviously not a criminal. He doesn't have any criminal record. He's a really good. How many 21-year-olds do you know out volunteering? When I was a 21-year-old,
I don't think it's volunteering. I think it's a paid gig. But still, he chose that life.
I was a hellion at 21, and I wasn't even that bad. There were some really, really bad ones. This guy is a good kid. And anyway, so they threw the book at him. I guess it's good that they reduced the probation, but now he has a criminal record. He's going to go for jobs, and he'll be like, have you ever been convicted?
The criminal record has been, after he'd served the 10 days and this went viral, it did get wiped.
Oh, so he's not going to have it on his record?
Yeah, it's not going to be on his record.
Okay, good, because that was my biggest thing. It's bad enough to go through all this stuff, and I can imagine it would be traumatic to spend a week and a half in jail, not having really done much wrong. Kind of basically you just screwed up and didn't hurt anyone, and that would be bad enough. But then to have to me, the bigger thing was the record, because now you're trying to get work, and you're you got to explain why you got a felony at 21 or whatever. So thankfully that's been removed. But
yeah, no, that's been removed. And I will say, serving on a jury is the most important thing anybody can do.
Yes.
It is the single most important thing any of us can do out there. Because if you see somebody who gets busted for possession of weed or some other non-violent crime, and they're like, he broke the law, you need to punish him, you can go, not guilty.
Not guilty.
And you know what? That person's not guilty.
At the very least, you can have that be a hung jury. Even if you're the only one saying not guilty, you can hang that jury. And if there are enough people that do that, you can make it impossible or very difficult to prosecute people for victimless so-called crimes. And go ahead.
It's called jury nullification for anybody out there who doesn't know. Yep. It's called jury nullification. You can say, I disagree with this law. I don't think he did anything wrong. And if that happens enough times, they'll stop arresting people for it.
And if the judge instructs you, which in most states is illegal, but they still do it, if the judge instructs you that you still have to vote guilty if you think they did it, but that it shouldn't be a crime, you can say, nope, not guilty. I don't think they did it. You have every right to do that. And so, yeah, Google jury nullification. You have every right to say not guilty. It is a great way to actually fight. We hear a lot about fighting for our freedoms. That's how you fight for our freedoms, is when our actual freedoms are actually infringed upon. You can stand in the gate and stand in the breach and say, no, not guilty. He didn't do it.
Right. It is. I used to try to get off of juries. Now I try to get on them just for that.
Yeah.
With my luck, it'll be like double murder. And I'm like, I'm stuck.
Now I got to decide if I really think they did it or not.
Right. Like I would, if it was like a possession case or something like that, I'd be like,
I would just meditate and daydream the whole time when they show up. Not guilty. Definitely no.
Guilty.
Nope.
He's not guilty. Oh, but they caught him with it. No, not guilty.
No, didn't do it.
No, definitely not guilty.
That was planted. You ever seen those deep fake videos? That's not real. So that was good. So ending on a inspiring note, so some laws were recently passed, I think last week, that banned the use of face masks in Hong Kong in response to all of these protests that started originally with the implementation of the attempted implementation of a extradition law that's now been removed or no longer taken off the docket, so it's not going to become law or even voted on. And the protests have been going on since earlier this year. And so they passed a law criminalizing wearing face masks in public, and the people of Hong Kong have responded by just continuing to wear face masks in public. I saw
because initially where I said ignore is a strong word, more that they are improvising, because I read an article where they were like the women were braiding their hair in front of their faces. And then I saw the other article where they said, screw you, I'm wearing my mask. And I was like, oh, no, okay.
Yeah, so it's been everything from people, like you said, the braiding their hair or putting their hair in their face. People who have been contesting it saying, I'm wearing a surgical mask for health reasons. Very common in China and in the more populated Asian countries where, bird flu and other communicable diseases have been a problem in the past, SARS and things like that, for citizens to wear when they're in public, wear surgical masks to, make sure that they have less exposure to pathogens. And so a lot of them are doing like this lady on the left saying, I'm doing this, for my health. And then of course the people that are just flat out, no, screw you, I'm wearing a mask, and everything in between. They've completely ignored it. The protests just continue to get more and more intense, even as the Hong Kong government has kind of backed off of what they were doing. That has, if anything, emboldened the protesters of Hong Kong, who are demanding major reforms now.
Right. They have shown the protesters that they can win, and now they want more.
Yeah, so I'm actually pulling up their demands. And let's see.
New from David Baldacci.
Nope. I am not getting. That's not happening. Well, where are their demands?
I remember we read them on the show a while ago. But God, that was quite some time ago.
That was quite some time ago, but now I can't find them. Why doesn't anyone just list them out? Well, anyway, there's 5 of them. One of them was that the bill to the extradition bill be removed. That has happened. So now I got 4 of them.
One of them was for a Second Amendment, correct?
Oh, really?
I believe so.
That would be wild as hell. To have a heavily armed, somewhat capitalist country right in the middle of China, that would be something. I would laugh at that. While you're looking...
I am currently looking. It's supposed to be... Of course, CNN says it's listed, and then it's not listed. Fake news. Fake news, CNN.
Fake news, yeah.
They said it was going to be listed. It's not listed. Stupid CNN.
By the way, Hamp Yance says, in Columbia, South Carolina, they will not allow you to distribute jury nullification pamphlets outside the Fed courthouse during a cocaine trafficking conspiracy trial. You will be accosted and threatened with arrest. That seems very specific, Hamp. So I'm going to take your word on that.
That's actually a lot of places. A lot of places are doing that. I know here in Florida, they will stop you from distributing any information about jury nullification. They are not a fan of you giving that out.
Sarah Branyan said, right, no, they are not fans of that. They're also not fans of people handing out pamphlets in front of airports explaining what rights they have for privacy with the TSA.
Or constitutions.
Yeah, or constitutions, because those are very subversive. Sarah Branyan says, I'm only thrilled to be a felon when my jury duty form shows up. I'm like, can't do that. And then she said, now, great, now he has to serve jury duty again. That would have been an interesting loophole. If he had that felony, he could say, oh, I'd love to serve jury duty, but I can't. I'm a recent felon. So another thing that happened...
Okay, here it is. Full withdrawal of the extradition bill.
Okay.
A commission of inquiry into alleged police brutality.
Yes.
Which, okay, guys, you're new at this. I get it. You're asking the government to look into the government there,
yeah.
but you're getting there. You're learning.
Yeah, you're trying. Yeah,
retracting the classification of protesters as rioters, because rioters in Chinese law have very strict punishment compared to people who are protesting. Amnesty for arrested protesters. And dual universal suffrage, meaning both for the Legislative Council and the Chief Executive.
Oh, wow. So one of those happened. Not sure any of those other ones are going to happen. They may end up doing some kind of amnesty for the protesters, but I don't know. So there was an interesting thing that happened. This is very big in the gamer world. So there's a Activision Blizzard game called Hearthstone. And they were having a tournament, and a professional player, a Hong Kong-based Hearthstone player named Chung Ningwai, whose I guess screen name is Blitz Chung. He gave a post-match interview at the Hearthstone Grandmasters tournament. He wore protester-style goggles and a face mask and declared, "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Time," which is a leading slogan of the Hong Kong demonstrations against the Chinese government. Blizzard announced on their blog that Chung had broken their competition rule violation, which according to most didn't really cover what he just did, but that they removed him from the current season of the current tour for him to be able to participate. They stripped him of all of the prize money he won, and he'll be banned from competing for a year. It turns out that the Chinese government owns I think 4% stake in Activision Blizzard, as well as a bunch of other gaming companies. And yeah. And so now there's a boycott Blizzard hashtag, and also another company. Oh, what were they called? another gaming company announced that they would where is it? I can't find it now. But another gaming company they have a game that's similar to Hearthstone, has said that they are going to pay this Blitzchung guy all of the money that Blizzard took from him and add him to their list of champions or something like that. So just a total mess all the way around.
And if anybody out there is rooting for China in this situation, you can take solace in the fact that they made the NBA their bitch this week. They absolutely made the NBA their bitch this week when one of the executives for the Houston Rockets tweeted out that he was supporting the protesters in Hong Kong, and China went, yeah, and basically gave the NBA the middle finger, pulled back all of the sponsorships that China was giving to the NBA, and so Houston Rockets is the biggest team in China for the NBA, right, because of Yao Ming. The Houston Rockets.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The Houston Rockets exec said that he was on the side of the protesters. China started pulling all sorts of sponsorships, television rights, pulling the China censorship thing that they do over there because he said these things.
Right.
And so he had to do a formal apology. The Houston Rockets did a formal apology. James Harden said that he was on the side of China in this protest. And the NBA said that they were very, very sorry for the insensitive words of the Houston Rockets exec. Just completely bending over for the communist dictatorial regime of China.
The same NBA, incidentally, that has empowered their players to speak out routinely on American politics against Trump, against police brutality, which is fine. That's great that they'll do that domestically, but then they just completely bitch out, pull a Nikki Haley, if you will, to China. Not pulling a bitch out to China is the Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park. They had an episode called Banned in China, which was then banned in China. And then they get what's that?
Oddly enough.
Then they gave their official apology to China from Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I'm going to read it now. Like the NBA, we welcome the Chinese censors into our homes and into our hearts. We too love money more than freedom and democracy. Xi, the president of China, doesn't look just like Winnie the Pooh at all. Tune in to our 300th episode this Wednesday at 10. Long live the great Communist Party of China. May this autumn's sorghum harvest be bountiful. We good now, China? That's how you apologize to a dictatorial communistic regime.
That's right. That is how you do it. They did that absolutely perfectly. And the NBA did it in the worst possible way that you could possibly think of doing. The NBA pulled the Donald Trump of, congratulations on your 70th year of regime.
God. I wish I still had that graphic. Right. Another person who bitched out to China in the last couple of weeks was Donald Trump, who congratulated China on the 70th anniversary of China's descent into over 100 million Chinese people dying from communism inside of 2 generations. I guess 3 generations.
Yep. But Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Trey Parker, Matt Stone. Trey Stone, Matt Parker.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They brought us South Park and basketball.
Oh yeah, basketball. I forgot about basketball. That was good. I mean, it wasn't good.
It was horrible.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Same with Orgasmo. It was awful.
See, I haven't seen Orgasmo or Book of Mormon, but I need to.
I haven't seen Book of Mormon. I want to see Book of Mormon really bad.
Yeah, supposedly that's actually good in addition to being funny. So that's a bonus.
Right. It's like they took South Park and made it into actually South Park the movie. So it's still good. That movie is so good.
Oh, the original South Park movie?
The only South Park movie?
Oh, I thought they had a second one. But the one where they went to war with China?
With
Canada?
Blame Canada.
We already have apologized for Bryan Adams. That was a good movie. So guys, that's it.
That's it.
That's literally it. But guys, be sure to tune in tomorrow for my next guest.
Jason Woods. Yes. Sorry.
Well, go ahead.
Great point, Jason Woods. The NBA didn't want to play in North Carolina for bathroom law, but will go to bed with China and their history of human rights violations. I bet most NBA players don't know what communism is.
Correct.
I wouldn't go, maybe on that last part, but the first part, yes. That is 100% yes. The bathroom laws in North Carolina were so bad and so much against human rights that you were like, no, we don't want to play there, but you support communist China.
Which also doesn't allow transgenders in. Incidentally, some of the worst gay rights records of any developing country is in China, outside of like Africa and the Middle East is in China. But, North Carolina was definitely the bad guy there. So, yeah, absolutely, Jason. That's perfect end comment there about the situation over there. Guys, tune in tomorrow to My Fellow Americans, where I will have this guy. John Phillips Jr. is my next guest. He is running as the vice presidential running mate for Kim Ruff. They are running for the presidential and vice presidential nomination for the Libertarian Party to become the next president and vice president. So I'm talking to the possible next vice president tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern on My Fellow Americans. And then tune in next week, right here on Tuesday night.
Only on Float.
Oh yeah, that is
Demageddon 3, y'all.
For Demageddon 3.
Tulsi's return.
The return. Oh yeah, that's what I'll make it. Tulsi's last stand. Yes. That's what we're going with. Demageddon 3, Tulsi's Last Stand. I'll have an actual graphic for that soon. Should have done that. I keep thinking it's the next week. But anyway, yeah, so tune in next week for Demageddon 3, Tulsi's Last Stand. And then I don't think I'm doing My Fellow Americans next week, but we shall see. So anyway, Matt, I heard that there's something called the internet.
Really?
I did. And I have a question. Because I'm being told that in order for us to be popular, we should be on the internet. So my question to you is, if someone were to go on this...
That's all it took, wouldn't you?
One would think. And, or would have thought, if someone were to go on this internet, would they even be able to find us? And if so, how?
Yes, they would in fact be able to find us on this highway thingy, web, something. This spidery thing of information and video.
Series of tubes.
Series of tubes and lines and highways and quick tubes. We're on the slow tubes.
It's accurate. That is accurate.
You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/muddiedwatersmedia. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/muddiedwatersmedia. You can find us on Instagram at muddiedwatersmedia. You can find us on Twitter at muddied_waters. You can find us on Float at float.app/muddiedwatersmedia. And you can find this and every episode at muddiedwatersfreedom.com or muddiedwatersmedia.com.
You can also find us on Anchor
at anchor.fm/muddied waters.
Muddied Waters. So guys, thanks again for tuning in. We love you very much.
We just got banned in China.
Oh, I'm sure. And we're gonna have to one up the Parker and Stone's apology. So guys, thanks again.
We got banned in China a long time ago.
If we are allowed in China, then someone's failing at their job. Someone in China has failed.
Yeah.
On many levels. So guys, we'll see you in China. And where we're going,
we don't need roads.
Mic check, yo. We still here? Still going strong, yeah? Are you down with Zuby? Yeah. I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip hop, I do not flip flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip hop, I do not flip flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. 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 I've been on the rhyme since I made a first appearance. I've been on the grind, never waited for the clearance. Life is all the time, so I'm gonna live it fearless. Yeah, and people gonna hear this. Made a little name with a vision and coherence. Never been a lame, now I'm closer to a genius. Knowledge in my brain, chalk it up to the experience. Still I'm not rich, but at least I ain't broke. Never sell dreams, cause I'd rather sell hope. People so lost in the mirrors and the smoke, think I'd be a realer bloke if I said I sold dope. Nope. But my fans will tell you that I'm awesome. I started selling and they bought them. I told them get them and I got them. So if you want dope bars, that's not a problem. It's time to put the needles on the wax. Rock hard like I got the Beatles in the back. Go soft, make it easy living off the map. Or I can go hard like a freaking cheetah on the track. I'm grinding from a zero to a stack. And I'm talking about De Niro getting jacked. If Wakanda needs a new king, I'ma go hard to be the leader of the pack. A needle in a stack, and I'm feeling to attack. Not a baller, no T'Challa, but a hero and I'm black. I'm an eagle to a rat, rebel demon on a track. I'm a scholar and a brawler, you don't feel it if you're whack. You're always talking evil in your rap, and I'm trying to put my meanings on the map. I gave you 12 rules for life and kept my room clean. I'm the Jordan Peterson of rap. Yeah. I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip hop, I do not flip flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip hop, I do not flip flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. And I believe what I prophesize, so I don't apologize. Unless I do wrong, I don't bow to the mob, I don't live to antagonize. But they say I'm too outspoken. They wonder if I'm joking. Look, a little bit is jest, but I say what I feel, man, I'm real and I'm open. Trust in God, but I live in the physical. Selfish thoughts, but I give in the lyrical. Thought cops hot, want my speech to be criminal. Lies get fought when I speak the political. I am not left wing, I am not right wing. I just know all these things I know. You cannot label me, you can't put shame on me. When I say go means go. Fresh, I step into the premises, kick dope rhymes and they love how I'm expressing it. Hop online and reply to all the messages. Gotta spend time, man, I'm grateful that you cherish it. Don't talk crap, no, I'd rather be irrelevant. Can't play dumb, people know that I'm intelligent. See me up late night, big beard, Letterman. 12 years deep now, I'm flowing like a veteran. Dudes show love, now I'm moving up in eminence. Girls show love, cause they're feeling all the pleasantness. Got huge dreams, I can never be a pessimist. Too much love, I can never be a feminist. Girl, stop looking all incredulous. I am not a bad man, I am not your nemesis. Always had a mega drive, take it back to Genesis. Worked so hard, time to reap a couple benefits. Yeah, I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip hop, I do not flip flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. I will not go pop, I will not go soft. When I say no means no. This is true hip hop, I do not flip flop. When I say flow mean flow. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance. This is perseverance.